In this video, we demonstrate the main features of Portmod software version 1.0, an analyzation tool for container terminal operation. Portmod has been developed in a European Union Horizon 2020 project named Capacity with a Positive Environmental and Societal Footprint, Ports in the Future Era. Portmod is a standalone Java program that consists of two modules, namely Flow Analyzer that enables the visualization of container flows and Portmod Simulator that allows to simulate machine movements in a terminal. Both modules operate on container movement data typically extracted from a terminal operating system. In the next, we will demonstrate the functionalities of Portmod graphical user interface. First, the Flow Analyzer module and then the Portmod Simulator module. The graphical user interface is started by double-clicking the Start GUI file. Select File button lets you select a move event data file that has been extracted from a terminal operating system. The other files in the folder are auxiliary files that describes the terminal layout among other things. The graphical user interface functionalities of the Flow Analyzer module will now be demonstrated. To visualize the move events in the input file, click on the Flow Analysis button. The labels represent container groups that are defined by the user in the auxiliary files. The History tab will give a summary of the visualized containers. For example, in this visualization, there are 925 container moves where the containers have moved 569 kilometers. We can use the zoom in order to take a closer look at a particular part of the terminal. In case we want to focus on flows for a specific container group, we can specify a name of a container group in the focus text box, for example, Crane 5, and click the Flow Analysis button. In case we want to additionally filter move events, for example, to see only export containers, we can type export in the filter text box and then click the Flow Analysis button. On the other hand, if we want to see import containers, we can type import in the filter text box and click the Flow Analysis button. We may also visualize only import and export containers by typing both keywords in the filter text box and click the Flow Analysis button. Next, the graphical user interface functionalities of the Portmod Simulator module will be demonstrated. Clicking the Simulate button will simulate the container movements in the same order as described in the input file. The History tab shows a summary of the input file. We can see that the time span to perform 909 jobs is 794 minutes, and that the total machine time for the 16 machines is 9,151 minutes. The Simulation tab shows the simulation results. The time span to perform the jobs is 823 minutes, and the total machine time for the 16 machines is 8,547 minutes. Hence, the simulation replicates the actual container movements relatively well. Furthermore, for the simulated results, we can see that the crane time for 5 cranes was 2,470 minutes, of which 33% is waiting. A job determines a container move from one location to another location for a specific machine. In the current scenario, the job dispatching strategy have been that each crane have some dedicated machines that performs jobs for the crane. In other words, serves the crane. With Portmod Simulator module, an alternative strategy can be analyzed, namely job pooling. In the job pooling scenario, jobs are centrally distributed to the machines. To activate the new scenario, check the tick box P for pooling and click Simulate. We can now compare the results of the old and new scenario. We note that the jobs not involving a crane is automatically filtered out. We can see that the total machine time increases significantly for the new scenario. This is because all machines are waiting until the last crane has finished. We can adjust this behavior by using the straddle carrier text box. For example, we can specify that one crane in operation may at most have 3 machines in operation. 2 cranes in operation should at most have 6 machines in operation, and so forth. When we are done, we click the Simulate button. In this case, we can see that the total machine time has increased slightly. We can also observe that the crane waiting time has reduced by 13%, even though we are using one machine less in the new scenario compared to the old scenario. This video has demonstrated the main features of Portmod software version 1.0, an analyzation tool for container terminal operation.